or purple in there, so we'll get you guys a shot at that at some point. But we are in the draft.
We have it.
And I think, well, Invoker going to be taken out. Both of these teams definitely love to play it. I think Void's going to be another hotly contested hero in the first phase, perhaps the Bat Rider as well. But DC, I feel like leaning a little bit less on comfort picks recently than maybe Fnatic. We'll see how this one goes.
It's always interesting to see how teams open up against each other, and of course how much the recent patches has affected the way that they're drafting. But obviously, that's what we've heard so far. Speaking to people, there was nothing really major change there. Meepo did get a bit of a slight touch-up, but I mean, regardless, potentially you just don't want.
Wait, did he get buffed? Yeah,
there was
at 0.3 Agi game.
Oh,
yeah,
it's not. It's like a buff that's not really a buff.
I mean, it's a few points.
It's like, hey, play me.
A few decimal
but
points.
It doesn't really. I don't think
it wasn't enough. So, yeah. But yeah, scared of the wee harm Meepo. That's understandable. A little bit interested to see that it's happened so early on in the draft.
Wouldn't be surprised to see the Beastmaster denied from Mu. But they're actually going to grab the Riki in the first round. So we've seen this hero fall off a little bit.
He got nerfed. The blink strike damage.
Yeah.
Yep. That's barely anything. Though.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of the touch-ups in the B patch are all very minor. So if anything, we'll see the same picks just to see like, oh, does this nerf or buff really matter? Because I don't think anything is going to change a whole lot.
And already, here we go. So kind of DC's hand being shown.
Yeah.
We're going for the Drow. The Drow strat. Drow Venge. The question is, with the buffs, do they pick the Visage? Are we going to see the return of the Drow Venge Visage?
10 seconds remaining.
I don't know. It's a very static lane if you run that setup, right? I mean, and against a Riki, you're perhaps vulnerable elsewhere, just because both Venge and Visage aren't great roamers. But I mean, for obvious reason, it's very strong. You know, come that 10-minute mark. But yeah, I don't think many teams are going to be deterred by the TB nerfs. I mean, buyback is not a core mechanic of the hero, so not lingering Metamorphosis through death. 50 mana cost on Metamorphosis hurts a little bit, but I don't think really it's all that much, so no surprise.
I don't think that matters at all.
No, I mean, because you build stats anyway, don't you?
Yeah.
You never have mana problems really on TB at a certain point, do you?
You do early, like potentially early
like
game.
To farm.
Early game. I guess early game farm.
Yeah.
If you're using your other spells, if you're most of the time you're only using Metamorph early game. You're not making illusions.
And Reflection's really cheap.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that didn't get touched.
I think DC showing this is something which really China has been first picking non-stop is the Drow Ranger. Like they've just gone back from Nanyang. Like every single team there is first pick or first banning this hero.
Yeah, and really good or smart banning from them as well. Having such a single target-oriented draft to take out Ohio's Broodmother, he's taken over games time and time again. I think the Bat Rider ban would be a good one for DC here. Fnatic favor it a lot for Ohio. It's nice with the Terrorblade as well as against the Drow, but there is already a Vengeful Spirit in their hands, so perhaps they're willing to give that away.
I think Dazzle might be a little bit better. They're already like more physical damage based, and it's also versus a Terrorblade. Terrorblade plus Dazzle has been the scourge of, it's also the secondary scourge of Nanyang behind the Drow.
All right, here we have the DC boys.
I should have seen that one coming.
Mu wanting to get nice and close to Misery.
Turn to battle.
Kappa Pride. Ben just hit me because I memed.
You memed earlier, I didn't hit you.
I know,
they were more appropriate.
He's been tame.
That was not appropriate. It's just one dude standing behind another dude trying to draft. What's wrong with you?
That's how it
works.
works.
Well, you say it like that,
it was
Ben.
more that's how you do it.
It was more the statement than the visual. But
Next thing you know, you've got a little female on your hand, you know?
Okay.
So similar in nature to the Dazzle, the Oracle is going to be the one removed by DC here. And the Bat Rider actually taken out by Fnatic themselves, not having their next pick. Helps them out. Precision Aura helps Bat Rider in lane quite a bit. So
is the Shadow Demon Drow thing? Is that something any teams have been kind of running
I mean,
with?
Shadow Demon was Terrorblade.
They like it
thing,
more, versus Terrorblade or with
TB?
Terrorblade,
Yeah.
not really with the Drow.
No.
Okay.
But I mean, you are versus TB here.
Yeah, you're
so
versus TB, so yeah, you could do it. But I would say it's more so you can kill Terrorblade.
Darkseer.
I like that. It
Okay.
blocks it from Fnatic.
Exactly.
Darkseer Ricky's very annoying. But you're not going to pick it purely as a block pick. It obviously works well for them as well.
Yeah.
I think you always want a mech carrier too.
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
the
and
Drow
a
strat.
hero that's going to be picking it up super
I
quickly.
mean, there's also just not many offlaners left when you have Void, Bat, Brood all being banned in that second stage.
I wouldn't be too surprised to see something like IO Bristle from Fnatic at this point. I mean, effectively, Fnatic have taken out. IO taken out.
You need a support to go with Terrorblade. You can't run the Ricky plus IO support seems
True.
very weak.
Oh, they go for the Shadow Demon because, as you said, with the TB. Yeah,
they
take it.
I was just touching how they banned and picked out Ohio with the Brood, Darkseer, Void, and Batrider all out of the game. He's a bit limited.
SD also crushes Darkseer in lane.
Yeah.
Pretty badly.
10 seconds remaining.
See what they add to this push. I really wonder if they do run the Visage, but yeah, it's obviously.
Well, you have a stable laner in the Darkseer, right?
Yeah, you got the familiar stance to combo with the vacuum.
I think you want some magic damage against Terrorblade, though. I don't think you want to like Visage. I mean, you've got Soul Assumption, but yeah, that relies on some initial damage to get the burst to kill Terrorblade. I like to me, Lion is a better pick than Visage, just because you get Disable as well as the finger burst damage to deal with Terrorblade.
Yeah, you get the bonus that you can eliminate one illusion as well with the mana drain. So.
And Lion's also good against the Shadow Demon, Terrorblade, Illusion, spam stuff.
Yeah, I guess Lion's always.
I think they actually have absolutely no real lane clear / push, which is, well, they can later on with Ag's Drow, but during the mid game they're kind of lacking that against the Illusion spam.
They could always Phoenix too.
Both these teams definitely love their Phoenix. Puck still in the pool. Often see it with Drow Ranger lineups.
Well, something that that we used to play a lot was the Wind Ranger, and this is already fairly decent. I guess it's not too
lot
great
of
against
armor
the TB.
on TB.
Yeah,
so.
you're not looking to have it to take down that, but Axe, and that's going to be a jungle Axe.
Yep, looks that way.
It's a little tough versus SD. I think Axe is one of the best win rates versus Terrorblade, though.
Yeah. Okay.
Because he has pure damage as well as Chop. Not really being a great counter at Sunder, but like okay.
Yeah, it's
he's got to think more carefully about how long he holds before he Sunders. Yeah.
5 seconds
Yeah.
remaining.
I do like how they immediately shifted away from physical damage as soon as the Terrorblade pick came out, though.
Yeah.
I've seen like you just like all in on physical damage with like Slardar and whatever, but I think Terrorblade has one of the best win rates versus Slardar, so clearly pretty good versus minus armor. All right.
Definitely need some. I mean, they have no initiation really right now, but that can come out of the mid or the off lane. Typically, it's kind of a high-risk role in hero. Mid one's Ember Spirit is still there. Not the
Ember, I think, is
easiest
pretty weak here.
Yeah.
Gust, you're dead.
They definitely need some sort of wave clear, though. They're kind of I mean, they have Shadow Poison, but it's not great.
Yeah, wave clear and initiation are two big gaps in Fnatic's draft, but it's one of those things where you've got Terrorblade on one side, Drown another. It's just win that one big team fight, you take a lot of towers and objectives.
That's just something that they arguably one of the teams that loves to run the most in the mid lane, the Medusa.
Interesting though. Not sold on this fitting.
I guess it stops the push, essentially. You just drop her in with a TP and suddenly DC have to rethink the game plan for the time being.
Yeah. And DC still lack the damage to actually like kill a Medusa or even a Terrorblade.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously looking at you got a TB and a Medusa. If this goes late, DC, something's gone wrong, surely.
Yeah, I think something that Mushi and a lot of the high-level Terrorblade players have been able to show is the ability to defensively Sunder. And with the Shadow Demon bailout plus that into the Medusa, she should be able to stand her ground for the most part. But Slardar Ban does end up coming out from DC, so for obvious reasons going to synergize really well with the Stone Gaze and the Terrorblade's physical damage.
I mean, the thing, kind of Ben, looking at this in terms of drafts, if DC do get ahead, Fnatic's lineup, I mean, they've not really got wave clear or anything, have they, if the pushes start to come in heavy?
No.
Is that an issue for them?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Medusa Mystic Snake is probably the best thing that they have, which is actually pretty good.
It's okay. It's not bad.
Yeah.
I am worried for them if like Medusa gets underfarmed and she's forced to like fight a lot. I could really see that being a problem.
And if you have one like bad fight where you use Metamorph and Stone Gaze, suddenly you've got no way to defend towers without those two spells. So
Mirana's one of the better counters we've seen, soft counters at least towards Terrorblade.
Yeah.
With the Aghanims build, so
that's a hero we've played a lot of lately too.
Yeah.
Does we play much of the Juggernaut?
So there's some of the
initiation. You could get Manta Diffusal on him to deal with the Medusa. Or does he just get wrecked in the mid lane?
It's fine.
Versus
it's
Medusa.
Jug's
it's
almost always a wash.
Yeah, okay.
I think Jug's quite a good pick here.
I think they might want a ranged hero though. I think like a
to take advantage of the Drow.
DK perhaps.
Actually, yeah, that's true. It's a Drow strat, and you've only got 2 ranged at the moment. Surely a third. Yeah, DK.
DK Wind Ranger. I don't know if you want Wind Ranger though versus the Nyx and Riki.
Yeah.
Riki's I think really good at dealing with Wind Ranger.
DK could be good.
Reserve time.
Lina's a pick. Lina and Lesh they like a lot, but I would also disagree with that.
Has he been playing Lina recently in the mid lane?
They played it a little bit like a month or two ago.
Okay.
They kind of like played it during the Summit qualifiers because they played Lesh a lot and then they kept losing with Lesh, so then they went for the Lina instead.
Okay.
It's a difficult. Like I feel like DK is probably the best option in the sense that there's a Riki on the other side. Like there still are things like the Puck and the Wind Ranger, but they rely on their defensive spells and.
Yeah, they also have mostly like physical damage, I would say.
Yeah, they go with the Wind Ranger. I mean, this is something that he's always loved. You know, this has definitely been one of the heroes over the patches that we still tries and finds a place for. And he obviously works with the Drow. And overall, what do we reckon about these drafts? It's two very, very different drafts.
I like the Drow lineup more.
Yeah. Me too. I think Fnatic's very slow pace with the Medusa Terrorblade. And if they get a good early game, they can snowball start taking towers early, but...
Yeah.
How do you have a good early game with Medusa Terrorblade?
I know it's like, oh, you say Riki. Well, who does Riki actually kill here? Best case scenario, Riki finds the axe in the jungle and like really slows him down. But
yeah, I think a lot of it for Fnatic is going to be on Ohio, and he does have the only two members in the safe lane for DC, but there's a lot of damage output from Resolution. So
a low level Nyx isn't going to do a whole lot.
Yeah,
Nyx is like one of those offlanes who's just there, like, oh, I hope I can get my level 6 and arcane boots by 12 minutes or something. Other than that, it's like he's not going to. He doesn't pressure the lane really. So it's going to be tough, I think. I think DC have the much easier to execute draft here.
Yeah, it definitely feels like we're all on the same page with that. But I mean, if at all they're able to hinder the push of DC, I mean, this is definitely a very
They have a lot of
lineup.
things they need to deal with. They need to slow down the axe from jungling, so slow down his blink tagging. They need to slow down the mech from the Darkseer, and they need to prevent Drow Ranger from pushing all their towers. That's it's very difficult to do all three of those with the lineup that they have.
Yeah.
It's kind of a Riki that needs a kill partner. There's no Sunstrike. There's no hero that can really like go with him to kill. You can get SD, like you can disrupt in a smoke cloud, but that's still not any damage.
Not at least for the first 9 or so minutes until the Nyx gets his Vendetta up.
I think the key here for me from Nyx is actually going to be Terrorblade, because that's the one hero who can rotate and take fights and push towers early. And it's not just about winning his safe lane, it's about recognizing the moments when he needs to go fight with the Nyx, because Terrorblade's the one hero that can fight better than a Medusa can. Like, level 4 Mystic Sake, not bad, but Metamorphosis is the much scarier of those level 4 abilities.
Riki can cause a lot of disruption. Like maybe if Wind Ranger gets low, you can get a kill on her mid. Yeah. Maybe you can kill an axe, but I think both of those require DC to mess up on some end. All right.
It's a big match. I mean, you verse OG in next round, but it's as far as dropping down the little bracket. First round, you don't want to find yourself there early on.
What were odds for this match?
I think when I checked earlier, it was pretty
what
close.
Would you say
I think
the
it
odds
was.
at,
I think it was slightly edged for Fnatic.
35, I would say.
Yeah.
Or for Fnatic.
I would say even less. I would say 60-40.
Yeah.
60-40 sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Haven't seen Fnatic all too recently, but DC did not look great at Nanya.
They did not.
I guess what for the last thing Fnatic played in was the qualifiers, or did they play anything since then?
61-39.
I think it's the last thing. Yeah, that's the last tournament they played.
That's it's pretty reasonable. Wow, that is a very far sentry. Pretty good anti-Riki. It's pretty hard to get dewarded, I would say. Although a lot of times they like it on the high ground so that it doesn't immediately get eaten on the low.
This is kind of nice as well for DC. Obviously, they've put the axe down on the bottom lane with the Darkseer.
Yeah.
And Fnatic, they actually expended an Observer and a Sentry trying to block up the jungle of DC. So axe doesn't kind of care. It's a little bit of a little meta loss for Fnatic inside the game. But
yeah, they can easily cut the creep wave as well with that duo. And with a Riki roaming around and a Shadow Demon, there's not all that much Fnatic have in the way of a solution to that.
Nice. Gets the Sentry at top. So they forced Drow to salve early, so they're going to be looking... It seems like Fnatic's idea for the early game is to just pressure Drow's weak laning stage. Like, you see an Axe bottom, you know this Drow Venge is not going to be able to deal with a Riki all too well.
And they know that Axe isn't going to come to lane, so they need to be able to do that.
Yeah.
TP scroll early.
I guess he wants to be able to go back to the jungle in case the lane doesn't go very well. But it is,
usually you pick it up like after you die, like after you suicide in neutrals. I'm not sure what it is. Like if you're gonna stay in lane, there's not really that much point in having a TP scroll. Maybe he's worried about dying to a disruption combo.
There's not much like rotation potential from Axe unless you get like you could go level 2 Battle Hunger, but TPM with Battle Hunger is like kind of meh. Like that counter game potential.
I mean, maybe his reaction if 343 jumps in up top, goes too aggressive on the Drow.
It only works if they actually
if
physically
they
dive your tower, which I don't think a Riki Nyx is going to be doing at
He's
early
not going to be
levels.
too YOLO.
That's the best
against Gus
too.
Potential Gus. Oh yeah, that is
3 spins.
good stuff.
As his mid lane going at the moment, Mushi 7 for 2, we 10 for 6, so quite an edge at the moment for the Wim Ranger.
Bit of better animation. Both of these players super comfortable on their respective heroes.
Yeah, Drow as well, of course. It's going to help out the lanes. I guess once he gets a few levels in the snake, Mushi will be able to catch back up. But at the same time,
he has
power shot.
He has the Immortal. Have you seen that Immortal? I think that's one of the best.
Oh, well, the Wim Ranger.
The best common one.
It does look pretty. Here we go. Here's the rotation we're talking about. Saxa turning up.
Here we go.
Here we go. You got it.
Rellini is unimpressed.
He's not skilled anything yet. Yep, he's saving the point.
And he picked up the boots. It's the TP top to buy boot strat.
It's the TP top steel Drow CS. Go on. He's still hanging around. I mean, if they get it, they could stun into cool.
With the creep wave.
Yeah. Okay, he gets off the spike Carapace. Nice 2-man stun, and he's walking it out. And with the smoke screen as well, Resolution can't get the right clicks through. So the Axe gank was unsuccessful.
He can
put some pressure on it though. As I say that, Ohio kind of walks back in. Resolution's trying for this, but this is a pretty tanky Nyx assassin. You got to be careful, Drow.
Yeah, that's pretty deep as well.
I like Drow's build, or sorry, the Nyx's build with the Pro-Man shield and the ROP versus all this physical.
Yeah, he doesn't care about the Drow at all.
Pro-Man shield ROP.
Not saying Ring of Prot anymore.
Same game.
Pro-Man shield ROP. I don't know.
Been casting too much with Lumi.
Yeah. The wolves.
The wolves. Wolves and sheep.
The wolves.
That was a really good series if you guys get a chance to check it out. Wings versus Newbie.
Oh, there's some crazy games, weren't there, in that final series? Yeah, caught some of that.
So it looks like this. I think one of the sentries already timed out from Fnatic on the Axe block camp, so he can go back to the jungle pretty soon. But doesn't have an Iron Talon. Do you think he's going to go Iron Talon or just go for Tranquil?
Iron Talon's so good, isn't it?
Yeah. Is it still value at this stage? Yeah, now that you've got like the points in spin, it seems like a starting item or bust kind of item.
You can't have him just like keep zoning out the Nyx.
I was going to say, is this the way to play? Why are DC putting so much on kind of trying to control the Nyx assassin? Well, why are they kind of resorting Axe to just being the sole purpose of
the overarching theme, I think, of the early game is that Drow has 16 last hits compared to the 25-ish of Terrorblade, and Ohio has 15 of his own. So they've been able to disrupt the Drow early on. I feel like that's the only reason that.
Oh, so they're just trying to recover the lane a bit for Reza.
Yeah. I don't know that they set out to leave Saxa in this top lane. But
I guess this is the problem as well. You start to go into the jungle, Ricky's just going to follow you anyway and sap the XP. So this is always going to be an issue for Saxa.
But an underleveled Riki is much more useful than an underleveled and underfarmed Axe.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
it's worth putting the Riki to that resource.
Yeah, definitely. He's been he hasn't killed anyone, but he's been doing really well for Fnatic's offlane.
All 3 lanes for Fnatic are kind of going, not necessarily better than expected, but going really well. They've even got Shadow Demon getting some CS with just some neutral creeps, so laning stage seems really solid for Fnatic.
It's only the mid lane where there's definitely that edge for Wii, but as we said, that's kind of expected with the Drow aura, and then taking that into account, then maybe he's not as far ahead as...
It's a very small, 4 or 5 CS.
But it's the denies.
The denies are
It's the denies. The leveling's going to shut down a little bit.
You're more worried about gold than XP as a Medusa anyway.
Yes, so. You're not looking to hit a certain peak early on. Yeah.
And Fnatic also know that DC haven't been stacking, because Venge has been in the lane the whole time, and Axe has also kind of been there, so they don't really have that to worry about, because they didn't have the best heroes to interrupt the stack farm, and now they also don't have to worry about a fast Axe blink or even a Darkseer mech if he wanted to do stacks.
Yeah, Axe is actually, at least for now, in mid lane, but I think that's just we healing up a bit.
Top lane, there's could be something going down. They've managed to corner off Resolution. TJ's there with 3-4-3 as well. There's no save for the Drow and Fnatic. Themselves at first, but Wee's coming with a rotation, gets a nice shackle onto Ohio, but again, this Nyx is so damn tanky. They'll throw out a magic missile, power shot, not going to be quite enough. Ohio actually turns around with the stun. He's going to be able to walk himself out of here. Mushi's turned up. They've cleared out the Venge. They're moving in onto Wii as well, and Fnatic. They're having an absolutely brilliant start to this game. 6 minutes and a half in, and just outplaying DC straight up in that top lane.
Yeah, they're really taking advantage of the Axe jungle, though.
This is the entire story of Fnatic throughout the qualifiers earlier. Is just that they seem to get slightly outdrafted and they just execute better. They've stymied the bleeding in this early game. They've really found a lot of farm on their entire tri-core, and Mushi, even on a hero such as a Medusa, making a key rotation here in the early game, able to get some pretty significant kills on the board. I
think it's also a lot of credit to DJ, because before making that rotation, he was in the jungle. So there was a good minute and a half where he's missing from the map. If he goes from zoning in the lane and then goes missing and instantly ganks, DC are ready for it. But it's the fact he spends so long missing from the map in that jungle that makes that gank successful.
Well, I mean, mid one's been left alone, but as we can see, obviously TC, they drafted this Axe Darkseer, but because Saxo was up top of the most, I mean, yeah, the Darkseer gets a lot of farm, but you're not shutting down this Terrorblade at all. He's got 44 CS, he's top of the board. Mid one, he's been very happy with how this game's begun, and obviously with that rotation top, he got a few waves of free XP all to himself. So this is kind of the TB starts that we've seen over the last month that turn into a pretty disgusting game for the opponents.
Especially relative to the Drow on the other side of the board, who definitely needs to start getting a bit of an economic influx from towers. And, if you're looking at a game 8 minutes in where you have yet to even take the off lane in your Drow lineup, it's a bit concerning.
Especially with the Nyx being this high level.
Yeah.
I think the Nyx is actually a really big problem. We expected him to have a really tough time in lane, but we also didn't expect the Riki to be up there constantly. And now he's almost level 6. He hasn't died. He's been really close, and the DC have been forced to throw a lot of heroes to try and protect their Drow Ranger. But
he's in so much trouble. Yeah, Misery's there, but of course at this point nowhere near having the swap online or anything, so no save for resolution. Mushi's coming around the back with the Stone Gaze. Misery's forced to back up behind the tower, but Ohio, he's moving into position. He's got Vendetta. He's going to have a stun up in a few seconds to finish off the job, and he's trapped Misery in there. Oh, absolutely brutal. Punishes the Venge, and mid lane, Wee's trying to go for a play, but yeah, DJ, he might even look to turn this one around with a Demonic Purge into the setup. Ohio, he's got the mana for the stun, he's got it up in a second, can he land it? No, Wee's just out of range with the wind run. But still, just struggling in all the lanes at the moment.
The TP in a battle hunger.
He might do it this time.
Probably has a Sunder.
Yeah.
But whether they can kill him after
the
Sunder.
Oh, that's disgusting. Terrorblade, ladies and gentlemen. He won't quite get the kill. Oh, maybe they'll be able to punish it.
Okay,
can they save him? Save me! Oh, Moosh. It wasn't quite. Not a lot that you could do anyway.
That was good from DC. They recognized that all the TPs had happened towards the top of the mid lane, so there was no help for the Terrorblade. The Shadow Demon couldn't TP, and the Nyx had just TP'd mid, so the only hero who can TP is a Medusa, who's not going to save your life there.
It's really nice. It definitely feels like it's an absorbable loss, though, for Fnatic, considering what they've gotten done.
And considering the start that TB was already having, and the fact that he'd had that lane on his own, it's a risk that you're kind of taking. There is going to be a point where they're going to come down and punish you.
Man, Mushi's been active. He's been in 4
out of 5
phases already.
It's like, that's what Medusa. That's not what Medusa does, I didn't think, but Mushi just finding his own way to play this hero.
It's like Gyrocopter-esque right now, the way he's been able to get around the map and use 2 ultimates already. And we talked about Ohio being up against a dual lane. He's going to need to be a linchpin for this lineup, and he is 3rd overall in net worth right now. So definitely a pretty huge issue here for DC. And I think, Resolution just now picking up his level 6, so they're going to need to find him some space, whether it's by throwing bodies at Fnatic elsewhere to get some towers.
To get himself the hell out of here. And, he's not going to get the chance to do so. DJ with the disruption into our highest rotation. Moon's going to get punished. And another kill for Mushi. Now on a killing spree on this Medusa.
Oh, so they got the Terrorblade in mid, so they can't make a push off of that, but either way, just bleeding heroes for DC. Mu is definitely not a cheap kill.
He's their most farmed hero by a decent margin. That's one of those things where every now and then you'll see a Darkseer have a really easy lane where he wins it, but then you look at the net worth and he's by far the most farmed hero in this game, and that's not a position you ever want to be in. You've got your 2 carries in mid and safe lane being out-farmed by a Darkseer. That's always a bit concerning.
At least Drow's getting some alone time, some me time.
Much needed, for sure.
I feel like Drow is less about your own.
Oh!
Okay.
I think he underestimated the power of the power shot.
Power of the immortal.
Yeah, it's pay to win. All right, let's see if they can punish the Wind Ranger, though. Here, we'll get the wind run off in time. There is TP's coming through.
Soul Catcher.
That's Mushi. If he gets a good snake, here we go. Bouncy, 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 bounce! Oh!
With the Soul Catcher and the last bounce there, that does so much damage.
4 damage.
Yeah,
that's a lot of burst. Snake bounces are real. Fnatic getting the push on.
Mushi has played very well this game.
He really has, yeah. 5.6k as well. The amount of value that he's managed to gain, where he's... I mean, when was the last time we saw him sitting static in the lane? He just hasn't.
Yeah.
I bet he was so excited for the Medusa buffs last patch.
Hey, he's been loving this era.
Just spotting them behind the tower right now.
Well, he's just chilling. And is he going to get the goal for this? Oh, no, yes, he is. He is indeed. Mushi takes the money. He's the carry here. Step aside, mid one.
I think that's what mid one needs to do, because like he's had a few deaths in a row. It's like that's the point where you stop going alone to farm, because that's DC's comeback if they get solo kills. But if mid one sticks with his team and pushes, Fnatic will just get further ahead.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the first tower of the game for DC that they pushed bottom with Resolution's rotation, no one was able to secure the last hit for them. So just a bit of extra salt in the wounds.
How's
so
Axe's and DS's gold?
Yeah, Blink on Axe is probably what coming soon. Yeah,
that's rough.
It's actually quite a ways behind.
Almost as mech. Okay. Yeah, they're getting there. They need.
But the mech's not scary without a Blink though. Is it? Like, at this stage, at least, you need the. Perhaps you could rely on Shackle Shot to initiate.
Ohio may just have a blink of his own before the Axe does. He's sitting on 1,700 gold on the Nyx.
I mean, we're seeing obviously both the Riki and the Nyx Assassin having a really good game, and I guess this kind of works so well against a lineup like DC's have. That, you know, they're going to want to have the economic advantage early. And Mu getting picked off here on the top. Can they bring him down? One more touch. They can't quite get it. The turnarounds here. Shackle onto Ohio. They'll punish the Nyx Assassin. Will they be able to catch out Mushi as well? He's on his way out. It looks like they don't really have too much of a gap closing potential.
That was a really nice gank attempt, though. Everything they did right there. They timed the Impale when he goes to the range creep. Hit him with the Carapace afterwards from the Iron Shell, but just not quite enough damage.
It's a really unfortunate timing for Ohio to go down, and he's worth a lot, but he'll still be pretty close to the Blink Dagger, and then he can just jump in with the Carapace on top of the Iron Shell thereafter. So.
Riki getting found out there as well as he wanders into a sentry placed down by DC. So finding the picks that they need to. Mu. A little bit of trouble down bottom, but they're not going to be able to dive past that. At the least though, Fnatic, they'll find the tier 1 mid lane. Look at this. DC continues to put on the aggression. Mushi's looking for the tower deny. He's not going to get it. Resolution picks up the gold. And DC starting to find a few plays that are working out to their favor.
They're getting all their items. I think Drow has Lance, and Mech just came out, and then they'll have the Axe Blink pretty soon. So yeah, they're doing fine now.
They're finding a footing for sure. Saxa's Blink will be a massive adding to their ability going forward. So
we still haven't really seen a full 5-on-5, and I think with Fnatic's the way their early game went, I think they might actually be able to fight DC in a 5-on-5 this early.
If anything, it feels more like that Fnatic would try and seek out a 5v5, whereas DC may prioritize a bit more pick-off split push style, even with the Darkseer mech. I think more likely they're going to like, let's get this Blink up on Axe and find the pickoffs.
So close.
Find a pickoff, take Roche, then you take objectives. I don't think you can just say, oh, we've got Blink, let's go team fight. I believe that ward may have been planted in Vision of Sentry. Yep.
Yes. Got the one just on the stairs. Midas, actually the option here for Ohio, so not that Blink Dagger that we were kind of looking for.
So we talked about their lack of wave clear. I think that the Nyx Aghanim Scepter is probably one of the better tools to deal with that, with a really low cooldown on the Impale and the long range. So, I mean, the question is, you know, if you're losing, is the game going to be over by them? But I feel like Fnatic feel like they have enough breathing room that they can make the Midas work. But I still feel like the Blink would have been more effective here.
Yeah, I guess a Blink would have helped them kind of keep their edge that they've got. But Midas antagonims is a little bit safer if they're able to kind of stalemate it out, draw it out longer. They've obviously got the superior late game, and then, as you said, it's going to be very hard for DC's lineup to break high ground against their Nyx. And while DC trying to jump in, 3-4-3, hiding in the tree line, and DC's been rumbled. Be unable to find anything with that as well, and a little bit unfortunate, of course, because that was Sax's Blink Dagger kind of reveal, yeah.
Man, Fnatic were so ready for that because they had that Observer Ward dewarded, so they expected like a smoke into a kill into a Roche, or just a smoke into a Roche.
And he's just camping here just to scout them going into Roche still.
There is an Observer Ward though, so they'll see him. They won't get in range. Oh, they get the swap onto DJ. The disruption will be there, but the smoke screen covers him during the call. DJ's still alive at this point. Shackle's not going to latch onto the Riki as well, so they'll only get the Shadow Demon. It was a nice defensive play, but I think this is enough of a window, 30 seconds, where you have a Drow lineup you're going to be able to at least take a look at this road.
Yeah, Mushi has to TP in. If
I was going to say, they need Mushi. If they get Mushi over, they can certainly try and stop it.
It's too late at this point. No T1's up.
Ideal scenario there for Fnatic is if he gets picked, you're pushing the tier 2 at mid and top, but the lanes aren't even that pushed out, so they'll lose a support and a Roche for pretty much nothing in exchange.
DC will be very happy with this.
Yeah. Fnatic dropped the Sentry Ward too late. They didn't know that DC had vision on that high ground.
Now, if you're DC and you've got this Aegis, do you then start to say, all right, full on, let's go down the lane as 5, or are they not in that much of a rush, DC?
If there were T1 still up, I would say definitely so. Sorry, T1's mid and bottom, but T1 top is like really hard to get to. I think they just need to keep farming.
They do have the mech up, so alongside the Aegis, the Blink. They have some tools, but yeah,
it's just slow though.
Like yeah.
Oh, they actually managed. Oh, they managed to snipe that. What did they have on? 3.1k worth. It was the Lincoln Sphere. Oh, that's a little bit of a hit for Fnatic to take, especially with the fact that DC have just picked up that Aegis and they have got this bit of a power spike.
Resolution's posturing up pretty aggressively here. It does have support inbound with Misery, but
and they've got the swap available as well. If they could get the vision onto Mushi, I mean, this could be a good time for DC to try and look to take some more objectives. And Mu, all right, with the solo play, trying to go for 3-4-3, get out, get the vacuum. Oh, he can't quite get out the range of the smoke screen, but 3-4-3. He was scared of the vacuum, and he cancels the TP to ult, and Mu ends up bringing him down anyway. I think he might have just made it, actually, because Mu was still kind of fanning around on the edge of the smoke screen when he was looking to get that vacuum down.
Yeah, it was going to be close. Yeah. Like, he was out, but maybe he just panicked, like one of those
misclick
moments
you see
where it's like,
he's going to vacuum anyway.
And then you're like, well, if you panic and ulti there, you're going to definitely die. But
it allows him to complete the 4-star, so it's a really nice solo pickup for Mu.
Yeah, Mu's been playing really nice, actually. There was that one time he got caught out on the bottom lane, but each and every time his awareness of the movements of Fnatic seems to be on point.
So this is the one low-hanging fruit Ben was talking about. Tier 1's kind of been missing, so this will be the one low-hanging fruit during the Aegis timing for DC to pick up here in the top lane. And looks like Fnatic will convene, but they're not going to be nearly close enough in time to mount a defense on the Tier 1.
Well, it's hard for them to defend too, because they commit to this Nyx Midas now too. And not even just the Aegis, if you don't have that initiation, so... I think there's a good chance he will still go for a blink before the Ags.
Yes.
Okay, they can't fight until he has it almost. At least not easily.
To get a wraparound here. Going on Misery, so there's going to be no save available. Immediately trying to burst him down, but he's forced out. He's going to be saved, and Resolution keeping Mushi out of the fight, pushing him back away. Shackle holds back Ohio. Fnatic, they're still trying to move in. Mid one with the Metamorphosis. They're ready to fight. DC, they're looking to bail. They want to try and get themselves out of it. The Demonic Purge down onto Sax. They're controlling the Axe. The rest of DC, will they be able to escape? Sax to go for the TP. He's not going to make it. But the rest of the side do escape. So DC only losing one casualty there to get the Tier 1. Obviously not getting the Tier 2. Fnatic are able to defend. And it's got to be kind of good news for Fnatic, really. A kill, not losing anything in return, and just slowing down that momentum that DC are desperately looking for with their draft.
It's a nice way that they approach. The way they approach is like the Drow always has to feel scared because Axe is on the right side, and then there's a couple heroes that are approaching from the left, so that the Drow always has to like run really far back.
Misery. This is potentially not the place to be. Ohio's there with the wraparound. Resolution is there as well. They might even get both. They're going to look for Misery. They don't want there to be any chance of the Drow being swapped down. Now Resolution is kind of coming all on his own. Mid one trying to close the gap. Resolution trying to turn and take down 3-4-3, but he dukes it out with the ultimate. He's going to survive. Mu comes in as well. They will finish off the Ricky kill. So they do get it, and DC are able to punish Fnatic's attempt at going a little bit aggressive, a little bit greedy there. They saw the kill. They felt they had the potential. They did get the Venge kill, but they lose something in return.
Yeah, it was pretty greedy. He has Aegis anyway, so they realistically shouldn't be trying for that. But either way, it's time on the Aegis where DC aren't really achieving too much, so the actual death doesn't matter too much for Fnatic. They're still maintaining a bit of a small gold edge. What do you reckon, Ben? Is that a BKB for Dro, or are we going like a Maelstrom?
Maelstrom Axe?
I think you have to go BKB. Do you?
I mean, you have a swap behind you, right? So
it's really what, just Nyx and
Smokescreen. Yeah.
I think Smokescreen's very.
But you have a swap. I don't know.
Yeah. They've got the 4-staff too for the Smokescreen. That was what helped out last fight.
Yeah, I think at this point they probably have enough damage to deal with the TB. So
I would Maelstrom.
Let's have a Maelstrom.
I could definitely see arguments for both. It's just, I guess if you're like, what's our late game plan? Because this is for DC, they're not winning this with some mid game pre-30-minute drought push.
Right.
And if you want to go late game versus TB, you have to go Maelstrom Ags or
Maelstrom. That's great against Terrorblade, isn't it? With the illusions.
Yeah.
Just having that kind of potential of taking them all down. And the fact that you got the magical, so you don't care too much about the armor.
I just don't know how much uptime she's going to have, though. Yep. Because even if she gets BKB, she still has to deal with Stone Gaze. And Stone Gaze is extremely annoying to deal with as a core. But it's good for farming.
It's good on paper. I've seen in practice it hasn't worked out as much as you would think.
You just don't have that much pew time.
Whenever the age is now gone, so DC, window's closed for them.
Yeah, Ohio's farm looking a lot more innocuous at this point with the pickup of the Midas.
They need a lot more on Wind Ranger, though. Wind Ranger's like about the same as Nyx, which is really not good for her.
Yeah, it's concerning, and she's all physical right now as well, as the power shot magic damage starts to fall off, so against a TB, gonna tickle with the focus fire.
They have Maelstrom, though. Maelstrom is really good at killing the TB. So let's see, DC playing around the pit, trying to secure that next Roshan for them. As long as they get Roches, should continue to be pretty good for them. I think once TB gets one, I think you give it a TB over Dusta.
As soon as Fnatic get a Roche, it almost feels like that's like not game over right away, but pretty
beginning
close.
Of the end.
Yeah. And DC at least keeping things close for now. If they can keep getting Roche after, it's going to take them more than 2 Roches. Like, I don't see them getting the next Roche and being like, oh, let's go push high ground, guys. No, it's going to be another kind of slow pace. Let's find a pick off, take a tier 2 tower, but realistically for DC, they got to play that long game, go for the 3rd, 4th Roche, get all those big late game items.
SD surprisingly farmed. He's like relatively close to the axe.
He just bought a gem.
He brought his own gem.
Yeah. And as Amon indicated there, the Blink Dagger does now come out as well for Ohio, so that's the initiation that they sorely needed.
And Fnatic don't want to give up this Roche.
Not only just to initiate, but to cancel that marksmanship as well, which helps, 2 of their cores.
Do illusions cancel marksmanship?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't believe so.
Okay.
Blade Mail's a really nice pickup.
I don't actually think
he's so far behind already, though.
That's very light, yeah.
Blade Mail's like, it's not great versus Dusa, it's not great versus TB.
Yeah, TB has such high armor that the physical damage
it's also like, his illusions do a lot of damage and reflecting to the illusions. And Dusa, like, she has mana shield. You're not going to really be, like, I think Blade Mail's good when you can, like, blink Blade Mail call and get them in calling range, but I guess it's probably going to be on TB, but they have defensive disruption for that. I guess there's not really a better item for them. They can go like Crimson Guard, I think, is pretty good versus the Dusa split shot and the TB. But he's kind of a little bit poor for that. I would have preferred Crimson Guard, I think, but maybe Darkseer's picking one up.
Mansa's being picked up in tandem there by both Midborn and Mushi.
Oh, Black's favorite item build.
They've got the SD on top of it as well, so you could easily just have 6, 7, 8 illusions up on the high ground.
I think this is pretty much Mushi does this every game. He always goes Mantle. I don't think I've ever seen him differ from it. He likes to stick with the
He's always a man of, like, he sticks to his habits very, very strongly.
And to be fair, it does end up working, even though I know there's a lot of flame for the build, but he makes it work around the
Back in, like, the TI2, TI3 era, he got a lot of criticism as, like, he was one of the best mid players in the world. A lot of people would say he was the best, but he still didn't ever tread switch. Like, he refused to learn how to tread swap. He does nowadays. Like, that was a habit that he learned, but it was just one of those funny things where you can say, this guy's one of the top.
Oh, the SD illusions of the Medusa chomping through misery.
Well, what would you prefer over to Manta, though? I think Manta's, like, they're all building stats, which is way better for the SD.
It's nice against Wave of Terror as well, and Gust.
He really wants that free pick on the Venge. Misery.
Searching.
He has to be careful, though.
He's looking for that Venge.
He's holding a gem.
Misery.
Timing.
Yeah, he's good. He's due to that. Ohio's not going to find him.
What's Roche respawn time?
It was 5 minutes and 26. So yeah, it's just over 1 minute left.
Close.
Yeah. That's gonna. I think that's pretty much
massive
the next
target
point
for both teams for sure. Fnatic can pretty much seal their victory, it feels, with that Roche, whereas DC desperately need it. I mean, and they're not monumentally behind at this point, but the Roche would put them severely on the back foot.
The butterfly is going to be a problem too once Dusa gets that. Those illusions are going to be nearly impossible to deal with, and they also can't kill her. Wind Ranger and Drow, I doubt, are like going to get MKB anytime soon.
Dare I say first? Is this first technical issue we've had? All Summit 5?
No. Fingers crossed.
Could be player error. Maybe he's like
it's all Mushi's
kicked
fault.
his computer. You never know.
I missed that CS. Damn you. I blame the PC.
I definitely hit my PC before, like accidentally with my feet.
Did you keep your? Is your PC on the ground or just?
Yeah,
Like, yeah, mine too.
I need a bigger desk actually, so I can put it on the table.
Get that tri-monitor going. I heard you.
I want a quad monitor.
Quad? What's the point in 4 monitors?
Because you can.
It's. I mean, it's
Why do you
symmetrical
need
as well.
4?
Like 3 is you don't have that.
Well, you have the
symmetry
main
going.
one in the middle, then you got your side one.
I like
I
the
guess.
3. I'm with 3.
But then you've got.
Do you
a
need a
big
4?
No,
I'm
I'm a
the nice
civil
thing about
man.
4, you
Fourth
put
is
them in a
above the
square.
middle one.
Yeah, I know that it's above the middle
Wait,
one. But
if you did 4, you'd have 2 in the middle and 1 on each side. You wouldn't do a
No,
square.
I do 3 in the middle,
you one on top, don't you?
Oh,
Like
okay.
leaning into you.
Yeah.
But what do you put on all the screens? What are you watching that needs 4?
The top one can be like your OBS
Okay.
preview.
Yeah.
Okay, middle one can be your game.
Yeah.
Another one can be like your Twitch chat and
Twitch
Skype, and then my other one can be like music or something.
Fair enough.
You could fill it.
There's
fill it.
definitely like enough things you may have open when you're streaming
Yeah.
that you could spread them out on 4 screens.
Yeah. If I'm
Rather
not
than having
streaming,
to
then
tap
yeah,
through
it's
them
not
all.
useful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But streaming, like, you kind of need a lot. They have like how many monitors do they have in the production room for one of the computers? More
Too
than
many,
4.
Yeah. They have
3 TVs.
He's got
6
6.
total.
See?
one of the
6.
production guys has 6 to himself, and then there's another guy who has
Yeah.
2 or 3, I think. So.
It's not that unreasonable.
Oh, look, we can see Super Mario in the background here. Ah, boo. There it is.
Charlie Yang in the kitchen, guys.
Super Mario. That game was the best.
That game's a good one.
That's
I
a
think that was
classic.
it Super Mario World 3?
3? Yeah.
I think it's for free, isn't it? Yeah. Ready whenever.
Nice.
There we have it. We're back here.
No, that's DC. Fnatic we're
Yeah.
having.
Oh,
Okay.
there we
nice.
go.
Woo.
Here we have it. Now Mushi, I think he's about to get the last CS on the tower.
Still.
Yeah,
oh, no,
he has
got
DD,
damage
so
now.
yeah.
Yeah, good luck with
More
that.
money into the bank. 15k gold on this Medusa. 26 minutes in. It's a very, very good place for him to be.
I've seen these like Shadow Demon drafts at this stage. If you want, you can just keep spamming
Yep.
illusions at the tier 3 towers, and they'll just like win you the game by itself. Here we go. Fnatic could just set up camp right on top of that ramp there by the ward spot and just keep sending illusions
Yeah.
if they want to.
Yeah, play it safe.
And at some point, DC have to go fight them because you'll slowly lose your buildings.
I think for the upcoming team fight, Darkseer really needs to get the wall on the Medusa and the Terrorblade if possible.
Yeah.
That's like really important for the team fight because it's a lot of damage. But I don't know how he's going to play around the Stone Gaze. If he does it before the Stone Gaze, then the wall's not going to do that much. But if he waits too long, then Drow and Wind Ranger might die.
They definitely need something to supplement their damage. Like the
No,
wall.
get yourself out of
Oh, he
there.
has Ion
Higher.
Shell up. He can just pop Carapace.
Yeah, they can reinitiate with Saxa. Saxa jumping and trying to get the SD on the background, and he will do. The ult coming out from Ricky. Misery tanking it up, now having to walk it out as Mushi turns up with the snake. Saxa, he's going to get taken down. They've already lost the Venge as well. 3-4-3. He'll fall as collateral, but he's going to pay the price as well. They've caught Mu out as well. Yeah, he's got to get himself back to base. It's a double kill for mid one. And again, Fnatic taking a very favorable trade for the side here, and it does feel like it's all falling to pieces here for DC as the draft was not built to be in this position at 28 minutes.
Does 3-4-3 have a Diffusal Blade on Ricky?
Should do.
No,
it's
it's still building on it at the moment.
in that fight, but either way, it was a nice initiation from him on the
That's,
back end.
yeah, they just team fight so well. Like they coordinate all their spells such that they initiate on one hero, the Darkseer, and meanwhile the Venge is getting smoked, so you can't swap to instantly save him and get him in a better position. So
really good synergy with the Shadow Demon and the Ricky. Kind of allows you to set up while being, assured that the backlines are going to be disrupted as well.
Darkseer can't get caught out like that. He is like the most important hero to not die early on. I guess a little bit of Drow too, but at least you can counter initiate if they go on the Drow. And they played around the counter initiation from the Axe very well that fight.
So we've got the Drow staple now complete. The Axe Maelstrom is done. So DC have got, they've got ways of pushing these waves back out. They can hold the high ground, but at the same time, if Fnatic break just even one little crack in that defense, the amount of power that they're just going to come powering down lane with is going to be very hard for DC to hold back.
I think with this strat, they can push multiple lanes at once too.
Yeah.
So like, Drow can only hold one lane.
So that's kind of the back-breaking Roche going the way of Fnatic here. And they do have the Aghanim's Maelstrom up on resolution now, so the high ground is... There's certainly no slouches on the high ground, Vac Wall, Swap, Call, the Ag's Maelstrom, but with this extra life, with them not having the possibility really to initiate on Mushi, him having the Lincoln Sphere, it feels like Fnatic will be very comfortable just kind of slow sieging this out.
I was about to say, DC really needed Gem. They lost that last fight just because Nyx was right on top of the Darkseer with no detection.
Here comes the cancer. Disruption illusions.
Yeah, that has to be fun.
I swear I think it was a NEL game where Shadow Demon was like 20k net worth, had Ags, Octarine Core, like all these ridiculous 6-slot items. He even got a Radiance or something somehow. I don't know what was going on. It was some good fun. It made me want to play Shadow Demon.
Was that the BSJ qualifier game where the Ember Spirit with the 20 Helm of the Dominator?
Oh, that was another one, yeah.
It was that.
I'm thinking about it. This was an NEL game.
They found themselves a Ricky.
Yeah, 3-4-3's dead. He'll be up in due time, though, as long as they can keep the lanes shoved. But DC have done a pretty good job thus far of keeping the lanes pushed out with this Aegis in the hands of the Radiant.
That's not too big of a loss for a gem reveal from Fnatic. Now they definitely suspect that DC have a gem.
And they were in a farming state anyways, because Butterfly was like 600, 700 gold away, so they're kind of waiting for that Butterfly before pushing anyway. So it's like, well, Ricky's back, where Mushi's still farming. It's didn't really benefit DC all that much to find that pick off.
Who has a gem on Radiant? SD?
SD, but he's still holding it, is he?
Oh, Nyx has it.
He probably
saw
saw that work
okay.
briefly.
It's good for Nyx because he's the one in the front line initiating, so he can at least know if he's walking by wards or whatever. I guess Drow needs BKB now, probably?
You can just all out good damage. Butterfly.
Upgrade, yeah,
Which
Butterfly.
actually
You don't get the Manta done? Oh, do you not need it?
Manta doesn't really. The illusions do kind of nothing.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
negligible
it's stats. That's really why I look at a Manta being for him.
Oh, it's going to be a Venge pick at the least. We'll see if they get anything else out of this
It's actually a very big pick off for 40 seconds. The lanes aren't even in any position, though, for Fnatic to really punish with it. But they do get the Butterfly. They'll be able to shove out the waves while the Venge is down, so they're prepping and ready.
Yeah, they're actually going to force this top.
Drow's pushing bottom, though, so I don't really think they can get too much out of it.
Yeah, they're pushing fast top. They're going to be high ground in no time at all, actually.
Yeah, they got Metamorphosis of the
Demon Illusions, Butterfly.
You got it back. 2 minutes left on that Aegis. Mushi wants to make the most of it. Fnatic.
Yeah, Resolution's
coming in.
They need a stalling wall.
Let's see what kind of a hold they can have. 5 seconds, and yeah, Misery's back on in the Venge.
He's stopping the Axe Blink too with the illusions. That's nice.
Moo, this is all on you, buddy.
There we go. Gets the 2-man vacuum. Doesn't drop the wall straight away. Gus comes out, but Fnatic, they're ready to move in. Mushi heads straight back up. 3-4-3 is going to be on the front line. Jumps in, forcing DC back. DC, they didn't manage to find the jump in the defense that they hoped for. So the racks are now exposed.
Yeah, they didn't even stone gaze. That's just easy racks now for Fnatic.
Yep. Still a lot of time left on the Aegis. That's a really tough initiation. They almost got like the blink call in a vacuum.
They hit the 2-hero vacuum they needed to. I'm a bit surprised he didn't go for the wall, but perhaps he thought he'd missed the vacuum. It actually looked like he was only going to catch one hero of the vacuum, but he got him just on the edge. But realistically, even if he throws the vacuum there, I don't think it would change the outcome.
Resolution went for the Hurricane Pike.
The triple tome purchase, Ricky.
You know you're ahead when you're forgetting to purchase your tomes. But they went for the Hurricane Pike on Drow. You're talking about the limited amount of time he'll have to be able to fire shots, and that may help with that. But now, down a lane of Rax. And the Aghanims comes out for Ohio as well. Probably one of the best upgrades in the game in terms of just what it gives you.
It's one of the few heroes that Hurricane Pike makes sense on.
Now Axe he's going back for the Crimson. So 33-minute Vanguard. I mean, Ben, you wouldn't really agree with this Axis build this game.
It's more of like this is what you normally get.
Yeah.
But like if you have time to sit back and think about it, and you're not in the middle of a game, it's way easier to know that you need a Crimson instead. But
yeah,
it's like it's versus all these like Manta illusions, split shot, and SD illusions. Like all these multiple sources you want the Crimson.
This is pickoffs that DC can't afford to let happen at this stage.
Yeah, that's gonna have to be a buyback, I think. It's all on Moo again, I think. Moo and Sox.
This if we have a look at Misha, this is going to be a push where unless it's already gone. So the Aegis is gone. Aegis is gone. So
did you say Rapier?
Yeah.
Let's go. We're up a rack. Let's pick up a Rapier before we push high ground.
Demon Edge.
Yeah.
He's gonna get
MKB is good against Wind Rangers. So.
Yeah. Already it's kicking off. DC trying to find a high-o. They will pick him off. They managed to swap him in. They caught him out. That's the gem down. They've won.
Oh, they got a vacuum wall and two pretty key heroes.
They're trying to chase him, but they can't close the gap on Fnatic. The illusion's just holding them off.
Not uphill into Stonegate as well.
But it's a good pick. Nyx Assassin and a gem, taking that away from Fnatic.
It does seem kind of inconsequential, though. Yeah. I mean, the gem is really nice, but...
Roche isn't up, and Windranger had a buyback.
Yeah, so. Keeps you alive, but doesn't progress things in your favor so much.
Yeah, definitely a good pick, though, for sure.
I mean, it gives them a way to kind of reliably defend high ground if they can do that again.
This is a little bit dangerous for DC. They're all spread out right now. A couple of heroes.
They're going in for this. Mid one and DJ there. They managed to shackle off DJ on the backside, but Weeha, he's in trouble. Gets himself shoved down the mech, keeping him alive for the time being. But Fnatic, they're trying to jump into this one, and you got to ask yourself, DC, was it worth it sending the two of them in, losing their own gem after they just managed to retrieve Fnatic's? That was
a dieback as well.
A little bit gun-ho from the two of them. Weeha and Moo, I think the rest of the team are going to be having words with them.
I think they didn't realize that the other heroes had taken so much damage from the illusions. Like, they got the Nyx pick and no one was really low, and then all these illusions were sieging the Axe. And Axe was all the way back in base, but they just weren't on the same page.
And so much goes back to the position where it's like you just got to pick to defend high ground. You're like, well, that doesn't help us. Let's go do something because we're 5v4. So you're thinking, okay, Fnatic are only 4. They may be split up. Let's get another pick. You want to turn that one pick into 2 or 3 picks since you're not taking towers. You're not taking Roche.
But they're going to pay for it. It's from the looks of it, at least going to be a second set of racks.
They don't have walls.
No Windranger buyback for
the Reaver. Okay.
She swapped in. We'll put the Stone Gaze out. Now they're moving forcing DC
zoning.
away.
Yeah, it's just zoning.
Space is there. Moo jumps in with the vacuum. Wall drops as well. But immediately the illusions ripping the Darkseer to shreds. No buyback available, of course, for this Darkseer now.
That free Mystic Snake onto the Darkseer illusions to refill your mana pool is pretty nice.
Vintage Fnatic. Slightly outdrafted, perhaps. Very well executed. Systematic game.
Do you get mana from illusions? Yeah. You do? Okay, I didn't know if you did.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a really good, if you're low mana, it's a really good way to refill your mana pool.
I was just, the drafting from Fnatic and the play as well from me. It goes back to Mushi's activeness at the start on the juice. That just did so much to kind of crush DC's lanes.
They also enabled the Nyx.
Yeah. And Ohio's Nyx, yeah, absolutely.
Do you still think Fnatic were kind of outdrafted, Ben? Or is it, I mean, obviously seeing it now, how the draft played out. Did they outplay them or what?
I think the Axe spent too much time doing things that
they laned it well. Yeah, Fnatic
laned it well, and DC didn't respond as well. They had the Axe try and zone out the 2 melee on top.